asks, how can employers manage staff refusals to drive due to adverse weather conditions, particularly in domiciliary care settings?
Okay, yeah, again, we ultimately must refer back to a policy here. I think, again, similarly to one of my earlier answers, an employer's power is to probe, right, and to get the relevant information. So firstly, if we can form a reasonable belief that potentially there's a refusal here and it may be manufactured, it may be entirely false, well, we only live 20 minutes away, I'm looking out the window here and it's relatively clear, there's no real conditions that I'm aware of, so I would certainly look to be asking questions here. But within that policy, such as refusal to carry out occupational driving or to drive in, let's just say, adverse weather here, let's make it clear whether that is paid or unpaid. In having that conversation with the employee that is reporting, how do they report, who do they report to, and this should all be detailed within the scope of the policy and supporting procedure. But then we also need to be working this in within our conduct policies as well, because if someone is manufacturing things, then again, this is a clear conduct issue. So if there is an outright refusal, I would see it as reasonable to potentially get them to show either video or picture evidence. If someone's blocked in and there's 3 feet of snow outside of their door, again, there's no problem there. But again, the policy will also articulate, right, this period of leave is paid, unpaid, could we look at alternatives, right, you can use your annual leave here if you wish to have this leave paid. Also, if people are saying that they can't drive due to adverse weather conditions, let's just say it's slightly rainy outside, and naturally, it's an employee's responsibility to maintain the roadworthiness of their car. And so if the roadworthiness rather of their car means that they cannot fulfill their duties, that again is another conduct issue. And again, we should always set our standards very clearly from the offset. We could also look at alternatives. Can you get public transport? We can also look at weather reports as well within the area to see if it's disproportionately affecting one area compared to another. And also making sure that we're communicating updates should there be weather reports as well. It's extremely important for employers to understand how vast the legal requirements are for occupational driving. So if we say to an individual, right, you are going to be driving today, even though there is adverse weather conditions, and that resulted in a fatality, prosecutions of that variety can be done so under the Corporate Manslaughter Act. And in making sure that we minimise our exposure and potential liability amid that issue, it all comes down to, I suppose, picking and choosing which battles you wish to fight. And again, we also must maintain at the forefront of our mind is that, again, occupational driving does fall more so on the side of health and safety and the Health and Safety at Work Act as well. So again, hopefully that gives a bit more of a top line overview of sort of the areas that were brought up within that question.